that victory. He was given specific orders by the president to handle the defense ministry, and it's, I mean, very quite sad the manner in which he's had to leave. And Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed on the screen right now, and he, when you hear him speak, quite very frank in all of his conversations. I think just about a week or so ago, I've had him speak to the difficulty and the challenges with which we can evolve as a nation, putting aside differences with politics, and he speaks quite frankly when you get the opportunity to hear him outside of Parliament, and particularly when he approached his ministerial duties. There was that nationalistic feel about him and how he went about a lot of the things that he did, and so a bit of a difficulty really coming into terms with what it is that we've had to bring to you by way of this rather unfortunate breaking news. But if we can run you through the profile of these two top individuals. I perhaps want to start with Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed. He's a member of Parliament for Tamale Central. Is the Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. He's a member of Parliament for the NDC as well. Born on December 14, 1974. Was expected to be 50 as of August. He's an Islam, he's a Muslim. His hometown, Tamale of the northern region. His educational background, the Ghana Senior High School, known as Ganasco in Tamale. He obtained a teacher's certificate from the Tamale College of Education, and a degree first off, KNUST, a master's in development planning, master's in international relations and diplomacy, and then achieved a PhD in political science because he got a degree as well from political science. His political career, he was MP for Nantong from 2013 to 2017, lost his re-election in 2016, returned as a member of Parliament for Tamale Central. He was Deputy Minister for Information and Media Relations between 2013 and 2014, and then he served as a Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry in 2014 and 2017. And I remember him very well when the Commander Sugar Factory was rolled out in the first term of the Mahama administration. He was on key point and promised to bring sugar from the Commander Sugar Factory to the key point show. I remember that show very well at that point in time when he was Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, and then was appointed as well as the Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. And I mean, that's just by way of his profile. I'm sure you do, Dr.
Absolutely.
Well.
And Mauna, you know, at some point, Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed also served as the coordinator for the YEA, which was then NYEP and then became YEA, if you recall. And then he talked about his passion for the youth at that point, because he's a relatively young man. I mean, if you look at it, 1974, that's the year that he was born, and so he's always been committed to the development of young people and the contribution of young people to the development of this country. And during that particular period of service, he had indicated that he was not even being paid, but he served because of that commitment to service. And the next person that we're going to look at his profile is Dr. Edward Omaneboma. We've spoken in reference to a number of the things that he has done over time to contribute to the development of this country, and then also his party, the National Democratic Congress. But Dr. Edward Kofi Omaneboma is a prominent Ghanaian politician, medical doctor, health policy planning and financing analyst with a rich background in strategic negotiation, solution-oriented leadership, environmental security and ICT, including cyber security. As a former civilian employee of the Ministry of Defense, he has an unwavering commitment to national and human security. And many people didn't know this, that he had at some point worked at the Ministry of Defense, and that also complemented his role and the decision to have him serve as Minister for Defense, because he understands the workings of that particular ministry. He also served as the NDC's Director of Elections for previous elections, as we have referenced. Also, Dr. Emmanuel Boama was once the Minister of Communications under the erstwhile John Mahama administration. Prior to his appointment, he was the Deputy Minister for the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology, and the Ministry of Sports as well. This astute Ghanaian politician, Dr. Edward Omane Boama, also served as spokesperson to the President in his first term. He attended Pope John Senior High School and Minor Seminary in Koforidua. He is an alumnus of the University of Ghana Medical School, where he trained as a medical doctor. He attended the London School of Economics and Political Science, the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, and Harvard University as well. He did a stint at the Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis, Missouri, in the United States. In addition, he holds a master's degree in health, policy planning and financing from both the London School of Economics and the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. As a student, he served as well as the president of the National Union of Ghana Students. That's Dr. Edward Omane Boama, and then also the coordinating secretary of the Federation of Ghana Medical Students Association. And so this is a man that, even right from the student days, he was a leader. As a former president of the National Union of Ghana Students, a Deputy Minister of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation. That's from 2009 to 2012. He served as Deputy Minister for Environment, and later the NDC's Deputy Campaign Coordinator in the 2012 general elections. He also served as the Vice Chair of the United Nations Commission on Science and Technology for Development. As a Deputy Minister at the time, he chaired the committees which investigated the spillage of the low-toxicity oil-based mud by Cosmos Energy in the Jubilee offshore field.
Right, and so we have it on the screen. We have it on the screen as well.
Yeah, 50
Alfred.
years of age. Yes, it summarizes all that I have been reading. And also, as then Minister for Communications, and spokesperson for the president, he championed several vital cybersecurity initiatives, including what I was talking about, the child online protection, and led the rollout of the government of Ghana's 4G LTE network. That's the GOTA, which provides enhanced communication capabilities for security agencies as well. He hails from the Eastern region. Some of the details I've just put out earlier as well. Pursued studies at the Harvard University, as I've indicated, his student leadership days as well, and then his professional career as Minister of the Republic of Ghana and in government roles, and then also what he served in the various capacities in the National Democratic Congress. 2014 to 2017, he was presidential spokesperson under President Mahama, and within this period as well, served as a member of the Ghana Aids Commission Board, and as indicated on the United Nations as well, from 2025, in fact, from
January
it was late January 2025 to today. He has been serving as a minister in charge of defense. And after this statement that he made about the status of the presidential jet, the only other public engagement which the media covered was the government accountability series. He was, I think, the first minister. Also,
yeah, I think he was one of the very first.
The first, in fact, one of the first 3 ministers to address that government accountability series. And that's where he gave that detail about the thousands of the military ammunitions that had gone missing. We're going to pull that back. We'll pull that back, and then we'll play that. That the indication that he gave about these ammunitions that had gone missing and cannot be accounted for. And so he, together with the national security,
taxed the national security, in fact,
to go and trace exactly where they were, and to also come and account for them. That was the first information that we got. And then after a working visit to the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center,
he sought to provide a bit more
some
details.
That aside from this one, there had also been some other ammunition that had gone missing as well. In fact, these ones, he said, were stolen and cannot be accounted for. And so that's a separate case of the theft of military ammunition, and then also the thousands that were transferred from the national security prior to the elections that had not been accounted for. So these are major statements in the last at least couple of weeks that we can ascribe to Dr. Edward Omane-Boamah, a Minister for Defense, on the line or in the line of duty, giving updates on what has been happening within his area. And that generated a lot of concern and conversation as to what exactly these ammunitions were transferred for from the armed forces to the national security and why have they not been returned. And he did make an instructive statement that it did not follow protocol, that this transfer of the ammunitions from the military to national security prior to the 2024 elections did not follow protocol. There is not adequate documentation.
Not enough paperwork to follow the trail.
Exactly where it is. And that was unusual. This is the military we're talking about. They're very meticulous and also very, very careful with paperwork and the paper trail as well.
So that's Dr. Samuel Sapo, who's the vice chair of the NDC, also on board this chopper, helicopter, a military aircraft Z9, which crashed, and that's him. We're also going to show you as well the pilot, squadron leader Peter Anala. It's the pilot, and we've just got word that he's got a 2-month-old baby that he's left behind. Very unfortunate in terms of the family and what possibly could be running through their mind right now. The fact that he has a 2-month-old baby, all of that left behind. The pilot as well, who was in charge of this aircraft, which came down, and we'll be trying to bring you details of all of these people who, unfortunately, as has been confirmed by the Chief of Staff, are no longer with us. But perhaps we'll take you back again to the Presidency again and bring you back that announcement as was made by the Chief of Staff, Julius Tebra.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the President of the Republic, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, who is with us here, and the government of Ghana, I have the unpleasant duty, sadly, to announce a national tragedy involving the crash of a military helicopter this morning around the Adansi area in Ashanti region. Government regrets to announce the demise of the following persons in the tragic crash: Dr. Edward Kofi Omane-Boamah, Minister for Defense; Alhaji Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Muhammad, MP, Minister for Environment, Science and Technology; Alhaji Muniru.
The Ashanti Regional Minister said he was going to leave it to other persons and rush to the scene of the incident. Now we can all but confirm that the action of the military search team on the ground will only be to the best of their abilities recover the bodies and possibly DNA tests run so that they can identify the said individuals, because if anything is to go by and if what Ibrahim is telling us is anything to go by, some of these bodies were bent beyond recognition, and it's a very difficult one, particularly for the families to be able to come to terms with. But unfortunately as it is, this is what it is has happened, and we've been trying to walk you through the details over the last 1+ hour as the initial details began to come through, the military confirming that the 8 were on board and that they had gone missing, amongst many other things. A lot of people were asking questions. Well, that unfortunate confirmation has all but been confirmed. And if we take you back to before the news conference as well, just the mood in being able to communicate what it is that had happened, the sense of difficulty in it, and seeing the interior minister as well almost shedding a tear or two, it just presupposes how hard it is for these individuals, even at the presidency. These are their friends, these are the persons they sit at cabinet with, because there are cabinet conversations that's been happening over the last few weeks and months, government policies being championed by these 2 ministers who sit at cabinet, amongst many other things. Is a general sense of difficulty for a lot of them to come to terms with everything that's transpired over the last few hours. But those are the ministers and the individuals we continue to roll on your screen. Dr. Edward Omane-Boamah is a Minister for Defense, one of the many individuals who unfortunately has succumbed to death via this very harrowing and very painful means as well, being burned, crashing in a helicopter, being burned beyond recognition. A very difficult way, actually, to go. Dr. Ibrahim Butala Mohammed is Minister for Environment, Science and Technology as well, also on board that military helicopter. Then there is the Vice Chair as well of the NDC. This is Squadron Leader Peter Anala, who's the pilot of the chopper which went down just some hours ago, details of which have been confirmed. And he, Squadron Leader Peter Anala, we understand, has left behind a 2-month-old child, and the difficulty for that child to grow and come to terms with these facts and all, and the family and all is quite very difficult. But squadron leader Peter Anala as well, the pilot of the military helicopter Z9, which came down. Also on board, Dr. Samuel Sapong, who's the vice chairman of the NDC as well, on board the military helicopter.
He was actually one time Ashanti regional minister as well, and so I mean you could understand why this is a big blow for the NDC as well. I mean first we're looking at the service and of these persons and the impact to the country, but then again, if you narrow the scope of impact and analysis down, you would also understand why the NDC has been heavily hit. This is a man who also understands the workings of the Ashanti region. He knows the place. And when he was elevated to that position of the National Vice Chair for the NDC as well, prior to the elections, he led the likes of Joseph Yamin and others who deployed a very potent and competent strategy in the Ashanti region, going into that election date, December 7, 2024 as well. So it's a huge loss for the NDC as a political party too.
Then there's Muniru Muhammad, and then Dr. Samuel Sapong and Samuel Abuaje as well, all on board that military Z9 helicopter which suffered that crash and the fatality thereof. And flags are flying at half-mast as the government, I mean, the shock is quite severe, I'll be quite very honest with you. We will seek to get details as well of that Armed Forces Council meeting, which the Vice President is Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman is immediately chairing, because we understand that the military couples all are presently at the Jubilee House as well. And so that meeting is currently underway, and what the details are, we will be seeking to get that as well shortly in the course of time. But this is the very unfortunate news that we have had to be the unfortunate bearers of in the last 2 hours since the news broke. It started while we were on air, Alfred, with News Central, and the news came in. Details were sketchy, and there was nothing to confirm just as yet, and so there was a bit of circumspection in terms of how the story was to be conveyed at that point in time. But subsequently, as we went off air, the details began to come through, and even now we're beginning to see as well pictures from the family home of Dr. Edward Omane-Boamah at this particular point in time, and you can imagine the level of grief that will characterize that home right now, and only to find out that the mother possibly is catching details of this via television, and that difficulty in the immediacy you cannot possibly comprehend for these families at this point in time. But the difficulty, even for us in communicating such rather unfortunate news.
You know, and Mauna, getting to know that Dr. Edward Omane-Boamah's mother got to hear of this while watching television, you know, it's a heavy one. That also tells you the responsibility that we have as well in ensuring some level of circumspection, and then also attaching some level of sensitivity into putting out this news. That's why we have to tarry and also err on the side of caution, and make sure that we hear from official sources exactly what had happened before we run with the details of the story as it unfolded, at least over the last 2 hours that we got information of this particular incident. And that's the official government communication has come now from the Chief of Staff, and the reactions that we're getting from both Dr. Edward Omane-Boamah's family home. This is in the Eastern region. His mother is in the Eastern region, Mauna. We'll show you some videos of that. Fortunately, there are some NDC stalwarts who were close by, so they rushed in quickly. They rushed to the residence, that's his family home, moved in quickly to console his mother as well. We're keeping tabs on the homes of all these persons who have been mentioned by the Chief of Staff, the persons who were on board this helicopter that went down about a little over 3 hours ago. That's the time we got this information, and now the confirmation that has come through. So stay with us here on TV3 and also on 3FM 92.7. We're also keeping tabs on the Presidency to get some more information as to what would become of the next steps ahead. But this is a dark Wednesday, a black one for us as a country. What a day has been. It's a sad one.
Absolutely, Alfred, and a very difficult one as well for even persons watching, because even whilst we've been on air, persons have been trying to reach out, trying to confirm, almost in disbelief as to what it is that we've had to, over the last 2 hours, do while being here. on television in their respective homes. A dark Wednesday, like you rightly mentioned, and a black one, as a matter of fact. But we will continue to keep tabs, like you rightly mentioned, on the homes of these individuals, and also at the presidency as to what comes next from that Armed Forces Council meeting, which we understand the Vice President is chairing immediately at this point in time. But this is an unfortunate piece of detail we've had to bring to you. But like we say, on all of our social media handles as well, we'll continue to communicate as and when fresh details come through. I am Mawin Aigbeta.
My name is Alfredo Consim,
and you're still here on 3FM 92.7. We'll be bringing the curtains down on this unfortunate breaking news that we brought you, which is the military helicopter crash, which has led to the death of the Defense Minister, Dr. Edward Omaneboama, the Environment Minister, Murtala Mohammed, also the Vice Chair of the NDC.
This helicopter. Now, we're also getting information that the fire service has been giving some updates on what it is that we know at the fire, at the crash scene, and what happened there.
Yes, and so the fire service have been speaking in relation to their response to this development. Let's take you listening as exactly the details as have been come, because remember, all of this is coming in quite thick and fast. No detail is confirmed just as yet. But let's hear exactly what the fire service has been saying as with regards to their response to the crash.
Well, the closest station to where this unfortunate incident happened is Obuasi Fire Station. And from what I've gathered, it will take them not less than an hour to move from Obuasi to that space. And I think they initiated response, so I'm here to be briefed as to what they were able to do when they got to the scene. So as and when we get better particulars about our response, we'll be able to brief the Ghanaians that we want to use this medium to send our condolences to the bereaved family. So for crashes of this nature, it does not just warrant the response of the Ghana National Fire Service alone, because a lot of things are at play here. We do interagency response. I quite remember some years back, Elwak incident, where it happened just around the Elwak Stadium, where a plane crashed into the walls and then onto the streets. I think we had some people getting injured and losing their lives and all that. So quickly we had to respond and then rescue people. We are the only institution with extrication tools. So if people are trapped, it is our responsibility to cut through the mangled aircraft, and then free or rescue or evacuate the affected victims and hand them over to the ambulance for further for first aid, and then onward transportation to a nearby health center or hospital for better medical care. So we are very much involved, especially with rescue, especially with extrication, and especially if there's any fire, we are also mandated to extinguish that fire.
That's the fire service explaining in some detail. We're also having fresh details as well of an eyewitness account as to what happened at the crash site, what it is that they saw, and we're using this as well, as a means of caution for persons to please be circumspect in some of the footages being openly displayed as well on social media, because some of these footages are quite gory. There's a reason why, as a media house, we're not showing some of them, and so we're just putting this out as a word of caution as well to persons who are freely and actively sharing some of these footages to be circumspect and as well think of the families who have lost precious ones in this crash as well. But like I mentioned, there's an eyewitness account which we've been able to gather right now for you as to what they saw just moments before the Z9 helicopter, military helicopter, went down as well. The fire service have spoken as to when or how quickly they could have gotten to the scene. Here's what this eyewitness saw when the chopper came down.
From plane now from there. And the new one said, Mete grind. To Mete grind, I'm saying, I pray they are buffet. And to me, jam the million, I said, my papa said, we are at the toy. And to me, when I'm falling in Musa, I'm quiet. To be quiet, and so plane or a ball. I say, and if I one woman in our side, I see, if you know, to me, survival crowd, women are she. Play me there, I say, crash. I see, let me say, nipa be trade there. Nipa be trade there. Ba ko ne de ohun say nipa ni. But omo ma ka ne there. Omo ma ka ne ohun. Omo ma ka ne ohun. Ba ko ne de ohun say nipa ni. Anu kra no ne na nyina ho ni. Aka ni say ni kwa na. Bu say ne na obu say. Oda mama kanede jana ya no hu se o yo ba o so ye be ma o de na nya she wa na na eko na nya she entoto enya she tebe chemu na me ya so say bia ebo na na asiniti we hunu ekwan ni ana o de ko bo eduani mu a e ma accident bi si ye who ne color is very common na say white and black visa. Plane on casa de nam send a polish. Tina no for for plan. The woman no. Ba ko pe na do say. Ni for mu say
and so that's the eyewitness account, speaking in the Akan dialect, saying that he was in his farm. The helicopter was at a very low altitude, and all he heard was the sound of a crash, and he told himself that certainly is the helicopter, and so he began to make his way to the scene of the crash. When he got there, it was burnt, it was burning, and all of the individuals in it did not survive. 3 of the individuals, he says, beyond recognition, almost corroborating what Ibrahim told us. He says it was just one person you could tell that, yes, but even that from the limbs downwards, their limbs were gone. It was just the upper body which he could immediately identify. The education minister, who we saw at that emergency news conference as well, has been speaking just briefly as well to my colleague Kamala Klucha at the Presidency. Let's hear from what he as well has had to say, and then we'll bring you what it is we've been gathering as incident report involving helicopters having to make emergency stops. But let's hear from the education minister first off.
Down emotionally. We pray that God will give him fortitude and
We'll try and work on the sound. We'll work on the sound again. But Alfred is by the dashboard where we're going to get details of that incident report, which we've been putting together. Our team has been putting together. Alfred, you're there. Walk us through exactly what it is so we can see.
So, Mona, absolutely. We've been tracking the incident involving the helicopters belonging to the Ghana Air Force. So that's to put matters in context. But this is not the first time we've experienced this. You referenced something that happened in 2024. This is by far the most fatal that we have seen. But as far back as 2020, some 5 years ago, almost 5 years ago, the 29th of June 2020 specifically, this a Harbin Z9EH. And Mauna, bear in mind this aircraft name, the helicopter's name, a Harbin Z9EH. The difference between what we're talking about now, today, this aircraft or the helicopter that went down, Z9, and what happened in 2020 is the EH. But then again, the reports that we monitored and which has been confirmed by our research desk and then also production going into this, this Z9EH helicopter belonging to the Ghana Air Force made an emergency landing on the 25th of June 2020, but none of the 8 people on board were injured. So the capacity of this helicopter that was involved in this incident in 2020 was 8. Today, this helicopter that has been involved in this crash also had the 8 persons, the capacity of 8 passengers or persons on board. Emergency landing in a field about 32 kilometers west of Tamale Airport. Now, the crew landed after observing a malfunction of the tail rotor system. So this 29th June 2020 incident was as a result of the malfunction of the tail rotor system. But none of the 8 people on board that 29th June 2020 incident were injured. And this involved a Harbin Z9EH helicopter. Fast forward to 2024, 19th March, there was an emergency landing of the Ghana Air Force helicopter with registration number GHF 696 on the 19th of March. It was a Tuesday at Bonsukrom. This was in the Western region. This is what you referenced earlier. Yeah. The landing occurred as a result of the bad weather conditions in the area. Now, we do not know what the weather situation was in that particular area, but then again, this we do know is a mountainous area as well, and when you're flying in those areas, and we would have security analysts join us shortly, the weather is a critical component because when you're flying over these mountainous areas.
It's been raining
absolutely
in the southern belt, which we've gotten confirmation of from a number of individuals who've been speaking. But many thanks, Alfred, with the incident report in relation to military aircraft having to make emergency stops as a result of faults as identified. But we're taking you to the Environment Ministry right now, where my colleague Godwin Asiba is stationed to get immediate live reactions as to what the mood is like. Godwin, talk to us. I mean, what possibly are these people telling you following the news having been confirmed and all of that?
Live from the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology, where here at the Ministry Enclave in Accra, where the mood is visibly somber and filled with grief following the tragic news of the passing of the Sector Minister, Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, in a helicopter crash. And that has also claimed the life, of the Minister for Defense, Edward Omane Buama, and others. Here at the Ministry, staff members are still coming to terms with the news. Many of them, are still grieving. Others are in tears, we have been told earlier, as they reflect on the life of the leadership of Dr. Murtala. There's a palpable sense of shock and sadness across the building, especially among those who worked closely with him. It's just really sad. Since assuming office earlier this year, we all know that Dr. Murtala had become a dynamic force in the ministry, bringing renewed energy and a clear vision for advancing Ghana's science innovation and environmental sustainability agenda. We also know that he championed initiatives aimed at promoting climate resilience, particularly in vulnerable northern communities, and was deeply committed to integrating science and technology into everyday governance. One of the most recent efforts was the launch of a national campaign on e-waste management, where he pushed stricter regulations and encouraged local innovations to turn e-waste into reusable products. I beg your pardon. But just like I was indicating, you can see quite a number of people here. We were speaking with one of the resource persons who doesn't really want to speak to us on camera, who made mention of the fact that once the news was announced, all of them were down in the dumps, still trying to come to terms with the fact that this tragic news was indeed true. As I am speaking to you, we have also been told that the minister's office is located on the 3rd floor of the building, where the HR has called for all of them to gather for some news to be released to them. We've also been told that some individuals who work directly with the minister have left the premises because they are still trying to comprehend with this rather unfortunate incident that has happened. And as tributes continue to pour in, you know, from both locally and internationally, the ministry is expected to, you know, probably open a book of condolence for minister, you know, probably coming soon, and we'll definitely continue to stay here and bring you the updates subsequently. But we'll try and move into the premises to get to know how most of these workers are trying to come to terms with the fact that this rather unfortunate incident had happened. Just like I are supposed to gather at the conference room, where they will be meeting with the HR for a brief meeting. We don't know what the meeting is going to be about, but hopefully it should be very brief. We'll try as much as we can to also get to his office to get to know exactly what the mood is over there. So Ishmael, if you can come with me into the premises, let's get to the 3rd floor and get to see you know, who is there and what is currently also happening around. This is the reception part of the Environment Ministry. So we'll go in here, where we'll then head to the 3rd floor, where the minister's office is, to get to gauge the mood in there to know exactly what will be happening as well. As you know, the entire nation is in shock. So, you know, struggling to come to terms with the fact that this rather pick the elevator, and we are heading towards the 3rd floor, where we'll get to see exactly
trying to make his way to the office area of the Environment, Science and Technology Minister. His connection will return to us shortly, because if you know the elevator quite well, reception is quite poor when you're in the elevator. But Godwin is back, and let's take you back to the ministry.
The fact that this rather unfortunate incident has happened to. But if you can just have a glimpse of exactly how the mood of the people are in there, others are holding onto their chins, sadness drawn on the faces of individuals here at the ministry, and briefly, I'm sure the HR will get to engage them. And just as we are pitched, come here to bring you details and live pictures on everything that is happening, you will get to know what the outcome will be or look like. But it's generally been a somber mood. Workers, the entire environment is in grief, is in sadness and sorrow, and the entire country is also reacting to this rather unfortunate incident that happened. Into the premises to get to know exactly what conversation they will be having. But just like I was mentioning and also updating you, the HR is supposed to meet with the team, have a brief conversation on the incident. You might not know. This is very strong, knowing that one of their major leaders, you know, has been called to glory in a very tragic way, which is just really, really devastating and shocking. Just a brief about Dr. Mutala. Like I was saying, we know that he spoke passionately about investing in research institutions and was instrumental in lobbying for increased funding for STEM education and green energy development. Many who worked under him described him as principled, hands-on, and genuinely interested in seeing Ghana thrive through science and innovation. His loss will undoubtedly leave a huge vacuum, not only to the ministry, but also within the broader science and environmental policy landscape. Just really, really devastating, if I should say, Mawena.
Godwin Nasidiba with those details, and we're in the home region of Dr. Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed, where my colleague Christopher Mwako as well is stationed right now with a bit more details as well from the family home of Dr. Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed. And let's take you there right now, and as well, it's a very difficult time for the family, very, very difficult, but let's take you there right now. Christopher is there. Chris, talk to us. You've been there. What are they saying? What's the conversation like? How are they reacting? How did they even get to hear about the news to start off with?
Yes, Marvin, I must say that it's a very, very, very sad moment for family members of Honorable Mutala Mohammed, MP for Tamale Central. I'm here at his residence, and family members are beginning to gather. The direct elder brother of Honorable Mutala has just told me how they got the information. According to him, it was the MP for Tamale South and Education Minister, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, who called him to break the sad news to him. And so he's yet to come to terms of the reality of the news, because as at yesterday, the MP and minister was supposed to be in Tamale with the energy minister on the power situation in Tamale. Unfortunately, he couldn't come because he had other assignments to take care of. And so, like I said, it's a very sad moment here. The elder brother is here. I will just go to him and for us to have a discussion with him. Sir, it's unfortunate that we've lost the MP for Tamale Central now. How did you receive this information?
I the person the Holy Ground that every soul will best faith. We actually has done, we have accepted it in good faith. That's what Allah has done. And everybody has a barrier. When we get to that, we have to do it. They only look that, inshallah, by the grace of God, we may the same rest in perfect peace.
What were the last engagements you had with him as an elder brother?
We had a brother who had an accident, went in Caterpillar in Caterpillar. The amputator is left. So I told him that we're coming to Accra. So I put the vibe on Monday. We go and see the management of the Caterpillar. We solved that our brother's problem. So we agreed that if I was even to leave Accra today, I told me that I had a responsibility. By Monday, I have to come to Accra. That's the last word I had with him. So that's what I've done.
I know you are sad and family members are beginning to gather, right?
Chris, hold on for us. We want to improve the quality of the sound with him, and then we'll return to you and continue the interaction. But we'll return into the Environment Ministry right now because there's some updates from there for us. Godwin is there. Godwin, what can you report?
Well, now, briefly, we are inside one of the conference rooms here at the Environment Ministry, and just like I mentioned to you, the mood here is generally really sad, and people are still trying to come to terms with the fact that this rather unfortunate incident has happened to one of their major leaders, which happens to be the minister, Dr. Mutala. You can see that most of the workers here are, really sad. A lot of sadness drawn around their faces. We are just hoping that most of them wouldn't have tears rolling down their cheeks, but it's just really a very bad day for them here at the ministries, and we'll be leaving them shortly because we have been told that the HR will be having a short meeting with them, probably to officially inform them about the incident that has happened and subsequently update them with what they will be doing. We have been told that some officials have not been able to comprehend with a rather unfortunate incident that has befallen them, and they had to quickly leave the premises, which we can't understand and comprehend with. You're seeing people either holding to their chins, others having their hands wrapped around their chest. You can clearly see that woman there bowing her head. Clearly, really, really sad scenes happening here. So we will briefly leave them to have the meeting and also get to update the staff here, and we will be pitch camped outside to get to know what the meeting will be about and what the outcome will also be. So thank you so much for giving us your time, and we are really sorry to get to know that this has happened to you, and we are hoping that you will be able to overcome this as soon as possible. So yes, Mawena, that is the incident here, the meeting that is about to happen here at the ministries, and it's really sad. I'm actually short of words to describe how their mood is like, because you have about a lot of people in there close to just down in the dumps. It's just really heartbreaking to know. But we'll definitely be bringing you to speed with all the updates that will be happening here regarding how not just the workers are feeling, but people around as well, and how they are reacting to this rather unfortunate incident.
Thank you, Godwin. That's my colleague Godwin Asidiba, the Environment Ministry, Environment, Science and Technology Ministry, providing details there for us as to what it is that's happening. We're going on the phone lines right now. Dr. Victor Doke is a security analyst, is a lecturer as well at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping and Training Center. He's joined us via phone. Doc, I appreciate your time and taking time off to speak to us, and for holding the line as well, because I understand you've been on the line for quite some time. A difficult moment for us as a people, as a country, this incident that's just played out. But if we can put this conversation in some perspective, my colleague Alfred has walked us through incident reports involving military aircraft, amongst many other things that have had to do forced landings. We've had a conversation about the state of the presidential jet, and dare I say, there are those who make the argument that there was a possibility the president could have been on this jet. Is this a good enough time for us to begin to have a dispassionate conversation about the state of aircraft as we have, as managed by the military?
Yes, thank you, Maula. Good day to you, our viewers. And I must say this is very saddening. Condolences to the two ministers, the other passengers, and then the crew, the Air Force crew on board. This is so saddening. And it's unfortunate. Such a fine gentleman we have in the person of Dr. Manubuama being the defense minister. Very affable, easygoing, and it's just grasped on top issues with respect to the defense sector. And within a short time, he has to just give back like this. So, I think, with regards to the conversations surrounding our state of equipment, i.e. the aircraft we have, the whatnot, I think, yes, it won't be far from wrong to say we need to have a very holistic conversation with regards to the state of air equipment and even land equipment, because when you're talking about everyday operational equipment, which are very essential, and it is very, very essential and important that at this juncture we look at every sector with regards to operational materials or operational equipment in a positive direction to see how best we can change the perspective and then address the challenges that exist within our sector, especially the defense sector.
Hello, Doc. Are you still with us? Right, Doc, unfortunately, we'll have to hold you again and connect again to my colleague Gordon Asidiba, who's at the Environment, Science and Technology Ministry, who has yet another update, because, I mean, my God, they are so distraught. People are so heartbroken. Godwin, I'm seeing people almost in tears, shying away amongst many other things. Talk to us.
Here at the ministry's enclave in Accra, where the mood is visibly somber and filled with grief following the tragic news of the passing of the sector minister, Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, in a helicopter crash that also claimed the life of the minister and also the defense minister as well, Dr. Edward Omani Buama. Here at the ministry, staff members are still coming to terms with the news. Many of them, just like I showed you earlier, are very sad. Some of them are bowing their heads with watery eyes, just trying to come to terms with the fact that this is indeed happening, you know. As they reflect on the life of the minister, Dr. Murtala, most of them who have spoken to me off camera continue to mention how the good man he was and how it will be difficult for them to even allow this tragic news to settle in. There's a palpable sense of shock across the entire building here. I am currently on the 3rd floor where a meeting is about to be held, especially among those who worked closely with him. And I gave a brief history earlier on what Dr. Murtala was aiming at achieving as a minister. And since assuming office earlier this year, he had become a very dynamic force in the ministry, focusing more on energy. He had a vision for advancing Ghana's science, innovation, and environmental sustainability agenda as well. And one of the most recent things that I also mentioned earlier had to do with the fact that he launched a national campaign on e-waste management as well. He also spoke passionately about investing in research institutions and was instrumental in lobbying for increased funding for STEM education and green energy development. Many who have worked with him have described him as a principled man and a person who is genuinely interested in seeing Ghana thrive through science and innovation. And I'm sure if you are a keen watcher of the Key Point hosted by Alfred Okansi, you'll often see him among the panel with Professor Jampo and the rest who speak passionately about issues around the country. The entire media general is also grieving as well. And it's just really a sad one. His loss will undoubtedly leave a huge vacuum, not only to the ministry, but also within the broader science and environmental policy landscape of the country. The question now is how the government plans to continue the work he has passionately started, and who might step in to carry forward his vision. Quite early for us to talk about this, but then it's just all the live pictures here inside where I hope my cameraman could zoom into the individuals to capture their moods as well. From where I stand, others are either making calls, others have their face totally dropped down to silence. All of these signs that I don't really have to describe indicate and shows when an individual is in shock or is grieving, and you can clearly see all of that happening in here. It's just really, really a sad one. But I'll quickly lead you to the door of his office so that you get to know, once he gets to the 3rd floor, where he would have to walk before he gets his office. That's the door that leads to his office, and you can see quite a number of people standing here. Ordinarily, on a regular day, when he gets to ministry, he passes through the door here and gets into his office. I was just hoping that we could get a glimpse of how the place looks like, but for privacy reasons, we won't be able to get there. But when you get to this point, you see the inscription written over there, which is the Chief Director's Secretariat. Before then, you can finally make your way into his office. Right, so that's generally the mood here at the ministry. And you can see that there have been quite a lot of movements and meetings being held among some of the dignitaries or people who hold high positions here at the Environment Ministry. I presume that the meeting should begin as soon as possible with the staff here at the ministry to get to know what the next step will be for them. Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed unfortunately died in a helicopter crash that also claimed the life of the Minister for Defense, Dr. Edward Omane Boama. Right after here, we will try going to the Defense Ministry as well. Security quite tight, but we'll try to gauge the mood around to get to know how people are also trying to comprehend or accept this news. But yeah, that's just what is happening here at the ministry. The space, generally I have been told by the people should be quite busy with a lot of people walking around all the time, but this is just an empty corridor. And then you look to the other side where the meeting should be held as soon as possible. Quite room, and others who are also pitch camp outside as well, holding hands, trying to let the information settle in just before the human resource manager can get to engage them officially on exactly what happened and how they're going to, plan it all out here at the ministry.
Godwin Asidiba, my colleague at the...
And you're still here on 3FM 92.7. This is our continuous coverage of the breaking news that we brought you some hours ago about the military helicopter crash that has claimed the lives of the Defense Minister, Dr. Edward Angles. We've gone to the home of the late Environment Minister, Murtala Mohammed, and spoke to his brother. I'm sure you were with us. If you're just joining us, indeed, the breaking news, which I believe you heard, is that military helicopter crash which has claimed the lives of 8 individuals, including the Defense Minister, Environment Minister, as well as other top government and party officials of the governing NDC. We'll be drawing the curtains down on our coverage here on 3FM 92.7 at 5 p.m. Do join Alfred Okanse with Hot Edition.